Good morning, greatest people in the world. Oh yeah, so many vegans in one place, like the energy here, the positive energy. Woo! All right. It's turning out to be way beyond their expectations, even though we did expect this to be the most important event ever in the history of the universe. It's still exceeding our expectations. So, this is the gathering that through our compassion, our compassionate living, and helping others to live their lives compassionately and vegan, we'll save the children, we'll save the planet, and we'll save the animals. So this is where it's happening. This is where the answers to all the problems of the world are solved. And I'm so honored that everybody has attended, and to make the World Vegan Summit and Expo a huge success, and just the amazing speakers and activities that have gone on are really just amazing. So I want to thank you all for being a part of it. And we go on today. Yes, all right. And we're only 2/3 of the way done. We have all of today and many great speakers and activities also. We'll even have a great Mexican feast for lunch in honor of Cesar Chavez, and a little reception tonight. Yes, for Cesar Chavez, the great vegan hero. If anybody wants to hear we'll have a presentation in Espanol this afternoon at 5 o'clock. Upstairs, there have been speakers upstairs in the Bayview Ballroom also, as well as down here. And so we're celebrating being vegan, and this being the lifestyle of peace. Cindy Sheehan, Peace Month, will join us for lunch today, as will members of the Cesar Chavez family, who are vegan, inspired by their great uncle and great uncle. So we'll see them at lunch today. And today we're having our Breakfast of Champions. Do I see JANETTE Murray-Wakelin and Alan Murray? Are they here? They're not here. Well, they're speaking today at 11:30. I presume that they exercise every morning by, this is Breakfast of Champions, so they probably just took a run up to Washington State, and they'll be back any minute now. You know who these people are? I mean, the greatest athletes in the world. Really, it's unbelievable what they've done. Nobody in LA has done what here. Who in LA can compare to what they've done? You know what they've done? JANETTE Murray-Wakelin and Alan Murray. So they're in their 60s. They'll be, as I said, speaking at 11:30 after Philip Wolin. They're in their 60s. She healed herself of breast cancer with a raw vegan diet, and just a few months back, they decided to run a marathon every day for 366 consecutive days. So typical of vegans, right? Yeah. So this is our Breakfast of Champions, and I presume they'll be back from their short run anytime now. It's certainly time for their talk. And we have today our other champion athletes. The Breakfast of Champions in the past usually referred to Wheaties, Breakfast of Champions. Yet, unfortunately, it's a breakfast of losers when milk from a cow is added to it. So, really. And how do you poison some really good food? Put some dairy on it, right? So that's what Quaker Oats is doing now. Did you see it has its new pro-milk campaign, and the Quaker Oats man now has a milk mustache? A mustache. We will also have a few words from our champion vegan athletes attending here today, who co-hosted a great program last night. Did everybody see Soul Food for Thought? Yeah! Woo! That was excellent. So Kenneth will be coming up in a little bit. Kenneth G Williams, champion bodybuilder, and he'll mention for a second that he did it as a vegan. And people always say, no way, and it's true, no way, no W-H-E-Y. But I'll bunch. Play the laugh track. And then SEBA Johnson, who is an Olympic athlete, a champion among us, and vegan from birth, right? So, you wimpy vegans. Come on up, SEBA. Hear a few words on their athletic endeavors as vegans, you wimpy vegans, you protein deficient, protein.
I want to say firstly, thank you so much, Bob, for putting on such an awesome weekend and wonderful speakers and wonderful attendees. So good morning, everyone. My name is SEBA Johnson. I'm originally from the U.S. Virgin Islands. My father's from East Africa, Burundi. My mom is Slovenian and English. I started off living in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, where I was born, in public housing, which was the first welcoming into the world. My mom had 10 cents, or 2 dimes in her pocket when I was born. Eventually she sold, and I'm sorry if I'm being redundant for those who heard the talk last night at the banquet, but she sold a painting and was able to take me to Switzerland, St. Moritz, Switzerland, when I was about 5 years old. And it was a beautiful sunny day with puffs of clouds in the sky. And I was watching the skiers go down the mountain, and I was just in awe. It was absolutely beautiful. And I looked up at my mother, who had this huge afro, and I said, "Mom, I want to be a skier." And I don't know if she wasn't listening to me or what was going on, but she just looked down at me and we carried on with the day. 9 years later, I was at the start gate of the Olympics. So it shows you the power of intention. Thank you. I was really excited. I was in the 1988 Winter Olympic Games in Calgary, Canada. And it was the first time anybody had been there at such a young age, at the age of 14, made history that way, but also made history as the first black female in the Olympics for ski racing. And upon check, am I speaking too close to the microphone? Is it irritating your ears? Okay. When I first got there in the Olympic Village, there were about 80 different requests for interviews from around the world. But there were also quite a few poison pen letters and death threats from people who weren't ready to see a black person in what they called a white man's sport. And I was 14, and when you're a teenager, you take a lot of things personally. It kind of killed my spirit a little bit, because it was a dream I had since I was 5 years old, and that was a welcoming to the world. I really didn't consider how people were so conscious of other people's skin color. And I think because of a lot of different types of suffering I went through as a youngster, and the way my mother had taught me about animals and how animals end up on people's plates, is a reason why I stayed vegan for my whole life. People would always tell me, well, you don't know what you're missing. Chicken and hamburger and fish is so delicious, you don't know what you're missing. And I would tell my friends, well, you don't know what they're missing. They're missing their life. They're missing their religion. They're missing their father. They're missing the next breath of air. They're missing the sun on their back. It was just really sad. And it was kind of hard living in a world like that, especially with the racism and just the fact that animals were being killed and enslaved and just, circuses, and it's just amazing. But before I die, before I leave this planet, I definitely want to see an all-vegan world. And I'm going to continue talking and going around schools and colleges and whatever I have to do in order for us to see that. And what's so beautiful is that we have a room now full of vegans, or soon-to-be vegans, and that's what's encouraging. Should I talk about my athleticism instead of all this vegan? I'm sorry. This is what the Breakfast of Champions. Anyways, I continued on to World Cup racing after the 88 Olympic Games. Qualified again for the 92 Winter Olympic Games in Albertville, France. And then I qualified for the 1994 Winter Olympic Games in Norway, Lillehammer, Norway. at that year, Linden Norway had just lifted their ban on the moratorium of minke whale hunting. And because of that, of what that country was doing at that particular year, I boycotted what would have been my third Olympic Games. Throughout my ski racing career, I had been pressured by different sponsors to wear clothing of their choice. They knew ahead of time that I would never wear fur or leather or any down in my jackets or wool or anything. But one day I was in the World Cup ski race, and Will Chamberlain, the late Will Chamberlain, was at the bottom of the ski race waiting to see this black skier come down the mountain. At the beginning of the race, I told my sponsors, my team, that I wasn't going to wear the ski suit because it had two small patches of leather that was sewn into the inside of the ski boot area, so that when the ski boot shifted, it wouldn't tear the material. All my other ski suits had plastic there. They worked just fine. But for some reason, I guess they were testing me or whatever. They wouldn't be able to wear the leather, and I was eventually disqualified from the ski race because I said that I wasn't going to wear someone else's skin on my body as I went down the mountain. What really warms my heart is, even though I eventually retired or quit, or whatever, however you want to call it, from the dream that I had to eventually win 5 medals by the age of 28 and beat Sonia Henning's world record, and because of all this the negativity that came along with it, and because I did not accomplish that, being here in front of you and hearing your encouragement is just so lovely. So I appreciate that, and continue on and seek up for the animals. They need us.
SEBA Johnson. She really lives it, you know. She talks it and lives it, you know. It makes me want to cry, actually. So thank you, SEBA, for your love of animals and speaking out for them. And now, you know, so okay, you wimpy vegans. Wimpy vegans. B12 deficient. Imagine winning all of this as B12 deficient, protein deficient. So, let's have a few words now from, now he didn't enter, by the way, and I should say publicly, Kenneth, I'm a little tired of you photoshopping your head on my body in all these pictures that are going in the magazines. I mean, really, enough already. And so Kenneth G. Williams is a champion bodybuilder. He didn't enter a vegan bodybuilding championship. He entered against all the people who thought you had to eat animal protein, and he won. So Kenneth G. Williams, come up and tell us about your championship life. Breakfast of Champion vegan Kenneth G. Williams.
Hey y'all, have y'all heard my story before? No? Okay, I know there's some of you guys heard my story before because I recognize faces. Okay, how does it go? One day I woke up at about 3 a.m. and I was thinking about all the killing going on in the world. I mean, just everything. And I went down to the kitchen, got some chicken, some rice, salad, and sat down and still thinking about that. And then all of a sudden I looked down at my plate and I seen death and destruction right there. So it was kind of like a wake-up call. I go, well, if I'm so concerned about it, then I'm looking at it and I'm about ready to eat it. So I said, no, that was the wake-up call right there. So I just decided to scrape the chicken off my plate, ate the rice and salad, went back to bed, woke up and said, I'm a vegetarian. I said, okay, cool. Went to work, and where I used to work is a place called the Headlands Institute, and it's in the Bay Area. And what they do is children come from all over the world, and they learn about nature. And I was like their host. And we had a great kitchen there, with a lot of chefs that graduated from the culinary school of San Francisco. And I went into the chef's office and I told him that I don't want anything to do with an animal until I figure out what's going on with the food. And so he got so excited. He was like, oh man, you're a vegan. And I looked kind of bizarre. And I go, a vegan? I go, what's a vegan? And he goes, a person that doesn't eat any meat, no dairy, don't wear any leather, and just a full-on vegan. And I go, wow, I scratch my head again, and I go, well, what's a vegetarian? And he goes, well, vegetarians have problems right now. And he goes, if you want to know more about it, then you have to study and you have to read. But what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to make you a fantastic vegan meal, come back for lunch, and eat it. And that's what I did, and it totally changed my life. I got so excited about that I have some friends, and we always get together and we work out. And I got so excited about being a vegan, I just told my friend, I said, hey man, I'm a vegan and it feels so good. And right when I said that, it just, a blank stare just came over their face. And they said, well, Kenneth, you're not going to be able to build muscle doing that. And I go, what, for real? And I go, well, I don't know, I think you can, and I'm going to prove you guys wrong. And then after that, I went home and I told my wife at the time, I said, man, the guys at the gym really treated me bad because I told them I was a vegan. And they said I couldn't build muscle that way. And my wife goes, well, what are you going to do about it? And so she, gave me a real challenge. So I went to work the next day. I had 2 jobs. My second job, I was a personal trainer at the Marin County YMCA. And I went there, turned on the lights in the gym, and it just hit me. I said, you know what? I'm going to be a bodybuilder. That's the only way I can prove these guys wrong, by being a bodybuilder. But I had no idea how to build your body. I was a personal trainer, just training people just to get in shape, but have no idea about professional bodybuilding. So I happened to read an article about this guy who just won a natural bodybuilding championship, and he's at Gold's Gym, which is about maybe a mile down the road from where I am. And something hit me and said, you know what, I'm gonna work with this guy, but I don't know how I'm gonna meet him. I have no idea. I'm not gonna go up to some big time champion and go, hey, train vegan, I'm thinking he's some kid, get out of here. So something strange happened. I received a phone call to come train this young woman. And we started training, and we got to talking, I told her that I was vegan. And she said, man, that's a really cool lifestyle. And I felt comfortable to say that I'm thinking about asking this guy named John Scott to train me. He just won this cool bodybuilding championship. And she looked at me and started laughing, laughing really hard. And I was like, well, why are you laughing? True story. And she goes, John Scott is my brother. I go, but wait. I go, like brother? Or like blood brother? And she goes, no, my blood brother. I said, oh, you have to introduce me to John right away. So she took me down to Gold's Gym, and I met John, and we hit it off right away. And I told him, man, just train me. He goes, you know what, I'll tell you what, kid. I'm going to train you for free because I believe that you can do it. So what he did was he taught me everything about bodybuilding from the ground up. And he got me ready for the 2004 Natural Olympia. And I stepped on stage and I won. Thank you, John. But I had no idea that I destroyed a myth. It wasn't like I'm gonna be this vegan bodybuilder, and I'm gonna go around the world, and I'm gonna go tell people to go vegan. That was not the idea. The idea was to prove my friends wrong. That's the idea. And right when I got that trophy, I put it right in their faces. I said, eat your words. Hurry up now. With that being said, when I won, it was very interesting because a lot of people never heard the word vegan, right? So I'm on stage and I'm happy and I won, and the announcer comes up to me, you know, everyone was clapping and stuff, you know, all right, you know, because sometimes these bodybuilding competitions, they get it wrong, and the people start booing and they start leaving, but for the first time, they got it right. But once the announcer mentioned that I was a vegan, it got so quiet, just like this. You can hear a rat peeing on cotton. It was that quiet. The announcer got nervous. He comes on the stage and he whispers in my ear and he goes, "Hey kid, what is a vegan?" And I looked out in the audience and I said, "I'll be damned. Nobody knows what a vegan is?" I go, what a perfect opportunity for me to get out in front of people and talk about it. And it's been my life ever since. And I got calls from all over the place. My wife was saying people are calling and people are emailing, all kind of strange people. I had nothing to do with them. I just wanted to prove it to my friends and let's keep it stepping. But I got this phone call from IDA, in Defense of Animals, Dr. Elliot Katz. And he sent his people out to try and find me because he had some ideas. And so I went into the gym to go work out, and he said, "It's some old, strange white guy looking for you, man. He's like really looking for you." I'm like, "Oh, no, old, strange white guy looking for me." Now he wants to train or something like that. And he said he's going around the gym asking like bodybuilders, "Are you Kenneth Williams, the vegan bodybuilder?" And they're looking at him like he's crazy. He was going all around the gyms looking for me. I couldn't believe it. So he kept calling, and then one day, Gabe Quash, I don't know if you guys know these guys, Gabe Quash found out where I live, knocked on my door and said, "I'm an animal rights activist and I want you to come meet Dr. Elliot Katz, who wants to talk to you." So I said, "Well, I don't know about you animal rights guys because you guys are crazy. You know, I don't want to be around," because the reason why I thought that is because I had no idea, you know, about animal rights. But once I got involved in animal rights, I was like, whoa, man, this is serious. You know, what's going on? It really woke me up. And he said he had some ideas. He wanted me to be the poster child for veganism. That was his idea. So he introduced me to some people. We took some pictures, and the pictures turned out real good, and everyone just accepted it. And then traveled. It literally changed my life, man. This is what I do for a living. I can't believe that I do this for a living. You can go around and buy and train. What did she say? Oh, take my shirt off. I tell you what, where's the Pope now? Come to the competition and I'll take it off. You know, it's funny, I promised my wife that I would never do that. You know, I would never, you know, do that. But I'll do it on stage when it's time to do it. I promise. But, what else? Man, I just...
There's a pool! There's a pool outside.
I'm getting in trouble here. I don't know what to do no more. Wow, I'll tell you what I'm doing today. I'm going back to the Natural Olympia for the 2016-2017 Natural Olympia. I'm going to go back and do that. And I want to open up a vegan grocery store. I live in a little town called Vallejo, California. I got some Vallejo people in the house. So we're gonna have a vegan grocery store there. And that's been my long dream, is to have that. So I'm working on that right now, and I can't wait to get that going. So that's my life story right there, guys. Thank you. Yes.
Former professional football player also. Yeah. Everybody doing okay? All right. I've gotten a request to keep my shirt on. All right. Fine. Be that way. Our friends just got back from their run to Washington State, I see. Also again here, the greatest athletes in the world. Who could accomplish this, right? To run a marathon every day for 366 consecutive days. JANETTE Murray-Wakelin and Alan Murray. They'll be talking at 11:30 this morning after Philip Wolin. But let's say hello to here at our Breakfast of Champions.
Thank you. How's breakfast going, guys? Good. Right on. Yeah, it was a little bit further to Washington State than we thought, so took a little longer than we expected this morning, but we made it. So we're very happy to be here, and we'd just like to give a big thank you out to Bob and the team for putting this wonderful summit together. And it's our pleasure to come all the way from Australia just for the weekend.
Did you run?
So, well, it's an interesting question. Did we run? The distance from Melbourne, Australia, where we live, to LA in the US is exactly the distance that it was all the way around Australia. And that took us 366 days to accomplish, but on the flight it was only 14 hours. I don't know why we didn't think of that before. It was a lot easier. Anyway, yes, as I said, it's our pleasure to be here, and I'd love to go into more detail about the run and, you know, how we put that together, how we accomplished it, and why. Why did we do this? Why would anyone in their right mind go out and run a marathon a day, every day for a year? It's, yeah, it sounds pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. And, but it was something that we did to show by example what's possible on a raw vegan diet. So on a plant-based diet and a conscious lifestyle, you can pretty much achieve anything, and that was the point that why we wanted to do this, to show by example. And so we'll be talking more about that this morning at 11:30 right here. And we'll be speaking right after our friend and Phil Wolin, who I'm sure you'll all be here to hear him speak as well. So thank you again for being here. Enjoy the rest of the breakfast. Alan, did you have something to add to that?
There's really not much else to say, is there? But it's just so nice to be here, and thank you, Bob. And it's so nice to be here amongst like-minded people. It was definitely worth coming here for the weekend. I haven't really much else to say except our run this morning took a little longer than we thought. And, we do apologise for being a little late. Thank you very much.
Daisy missed us.
You ran a little faster to get back to Daisy. That's good. Well, that's kind of amazing if you look at it that way, that they ran the distance from Australia to Los Angeles, right? So, you know, people keep saying, oh, are you going to do a second one of these or whatever? So I guess if, once they get off the plane, they need to start running, you know, like if we do this next year. So in just a few minutes, we will start our sessions and talks, and coming up first this morning will be our Mighty May, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. And, yeah, she's not, we're not ready yet. What time is it? It's not time yet. 9:20? In 10 minutes. So I don't want to do a 10-minute introduction. So, So we'll talk to Armide in a few minutes, and because we want everybody to go vegan, dogs and cats, and so we have a little break until we get started, and then another amazing day ahead of us. So again, thank you for attending the first ever once-in-a-lifetime World Vegan Summit and Expo. Thanks.